December 7th, 1941 was the last day in history, after which the map of the world was going to change forever. A disaster was about to strike at the Navy base that no one could have imagined. An African-American boy named Doris Miller was serving breakfast to the Navy officers when the sun came up, and then he went to the laundry collection room. At exactly 7:57 in the morning, Doris heard a siren. The siren that no one in service wanted to hear. He immediately came out and was shocked to see that the entire sky was filled with Japanese bomber aircraft. In the blink of an eye, the entire naval base was like a doomsday. The Japanese aircraft started destroying American ships one by one. This attack was carried out on the Pearl Harbor base, and today, we will learn why Japan had the courage to attack a country like America. Why was a cook named Doris Miller given the highest award in America? And why did America attack Japan with a nuclear weapon? Welcome once again to our interesting story on Learn Sphere. Our story begins in 1941 when America put everything on the line to save China in World War II. Yes, the same China against which America is openly talking today. It was like this that 3 years had passed since the start of World War II, in which Germany and Italy were on one side, while Britain, the Netherlands, and France were on the other side. America had no part in this war. America was completely neutral because of the losses suffered in World War I. America wanted to keep itself completely away from the war taking place in Europe and Asia. But there was one country that was constantly harassing America, and that was Japan. Due to having less natural resources, Japan was constantly occupying its neighbors so that it could fulfill its demand for natural resources. Japan had occupied large areas of Korea, Taiwan, and China. Japan also had its eyes on the Philippines, Malaysia, and Indonesia, which were close to Japan in the Pacific Ocean. But the problem was that Malaysia was a British colony, Indonesia was a Dutch colony, and the Philippines was a neutral American colony. These countries did not like Japan's occupation of other countries because Hitler's hand was behind Japan, and Hitler was the enemy of Britain and America. Seeing these actions of Japan, in July 1941, America banned the sale of oil to Japan. Japan did not have its own oil, but it imported 80% of its oil from America. America put this condition in front of it that it would first have to leave its occupation in China and then it would be given oil. This was a very difficult decision for Japan. On the one hand, if it left its occupation in China, the whole world would understand that it had surrendered to America despite Hitler's support. On the other hand, there was oil, without which Japan's economy would be weakened. Japan decided that it would not withdraw its forces from China, but secretly planned to occupy Indonesia for oil. But this was not as easy as it seemed. As we already know, Indonesia was a Dutch colony at that time, and to reach there, it was necessary to first occupy the Philippines, which was an American colony. Japan knew very well that if it attacked the Philippines, it would be retaliated by the American naval base Pearl Harbor, which was located in the Pacific Ocean. But because Japan's oil reserves were rapidly depleting, and it had no other option but to attack. Not the Philippines, but Pearl Harbor. Yes, the Japanese military leaders decided to carry out a surprise attack on the American Pearl Harbor base and destroy the entire base so that Japan could easily occupy the Philippines. Japan was now preparing to secretly attack Pearl Harbor. It started preparing its fleet, which included 2 battleships, 39 submarines, 30 destroyers, and 414 bomber aircraft. These aircraft were sent towards Pearl Harbor by 6 aircraft carriers. On the other hand, if we estimate the American forces stationed at Pearl Harbor, there were 8 battleships, 59 anti-aircraft ships, submarines, and 390 aircraft. If we look at it, America had enough force to foil Japan's attack. But for this, it was necessary to get information about this attack in advance. But Japan wanted to keep this attack a secret at all costs. Therefore, the Japanese commander decided that no one would be allowed to communicate wirelessly before the attack. The force coming from Japan had covered a distance of about 8,000 kilometers and was now only 370 kilometers away from Pearl Harbor. And this was the point from where the aircraft were launched to attack. This was going to be the biggest attack that America had not even been involved in yet. On the morning of December 7th, 1941, At 7:57, 350 Japanese aircraft attacked Pearl Harbor in two different groups. The Americans, who were completely unaware of this attack, were like a doomsday. The first group of Japanese rained down bombs. These bombs kept attacking Pearl Harbor for 45 minutes and then went back. At first, it seemed that the attack was over. But after 10 minutes, the second group of bomber aircraft came and destroyed the base with bombs. This attack continued for 1 hour and 15 minutes, in which Japan destroyed 20 vessels, 8 battleships, and more than 300 planes. The ground and the sky were covered with clouds of smoke. During this time, there was an African-American cook named Doris Miller on an American battleship, whom we mentioned at the beginning of the video. While collecting laundry, Doris heard a siren. When he came out after hearing this terrifying siren, a Japanese torpedo missile hit his ship, in which many officers, including the ship's captain, were injured. Doris Miller alone shifted the injured to a safe place and then went to the anti-aircraft machine gun and started firing at the Japanese aircraft. Without any training, he shot down 6 Japanese aircraft. For this, he was later given the Navy Cross Award. The Navy Cross is the second highest award in the United States after the Medal of Honor. After attacking for 1 hour and 15 minutes, the Japanese aircraft went back, but they had now dragged America into World War II. The same America that was not even involved in World War II before this attack. America decided to teach Japan a lesson the very next day after the attack on Pearl Harbor and declared war on them. For the next 3 months, America was busy restoring its naval base. Fortunately, many ships were sunk in shallow water, which could be repaired. After 4 months, America attacked Japan in the same way as they had attacked Pearl Harbor. Yes, in April 1942, American bombers rained down bombs on Japan's capital, Tokyo. This was the first attack that America had carried out in World War II. But America did not stop there. The war between Japan and America continued for the next 4 years, in which America was now in the lead. Japan was very weak in this war, but it was not surrendering to America under any circumstances. Finally, in August 1945, America used its last card against Japan. On August 6, 1945, at 8 a.m., a Boeing B-29 Superfortress aircraft was seen over the Japanese city of Hiroshima. This aircraft dropped a 4,400-pound bomb named Little Boy on Hiroshima. Exactly 43 seconds later, there was a loud explosion and everything turned white. After that, a fireball went from the ground to the sky, which raised the temperature of the ground to 5,000 degrees Celsius. This was the first nuclear attack in history, which wiped out 80% of the city. The Japanese military leaders were shocked. Before they could understand anything else, on August 9th, America also dropped a nuclear bomb on the Japanese city of Nagasaki. This was a Mark III bomb, whose codename was Fat Man. This 4,670-pound bomb wiped out the entire city. These were the 2 nuclear bombs that were used on humans,